Okay, so in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to animate your website sections using a motion, formerly known as framer motion. Okay, so let's get started. So in the previous tutorial I showed you how to make an animation like this using framer motion, but now comes the cards, right? So we would like to fade in all of these cards one by one, and the fade in effect would be fading in all of these, but the problem is I would have to manually add in the delay for all of these, but there is a trick to doing that. Okay, and I'm going to show you how you can do that to automatically add the delays for this. Okay, so let's get started. So just in case you don't know how to set all of this up, it's super simple. Just in your terminal, just type in the command npm I motion and then press enter. This will install the motion package for you. Okay, and then next at the top you need to import this in. Okay, so after you have done this, it's super simple. Just go to the div you want to animate, right? So my divs are in this, and don't worry about this. You should know enough about React to know what I'm doing here. I'm basically getting a array and I'm mapping through that array and I'm putting in all of the details in this div. Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing with this. So I want to animate this div, but the thing I want to do is make sure that the div animates for each of the items. Okay, so what I want the div to do is animate each of the div coming in, but with a delay for each of them. So what I can do is make this a motion, okay, and then do animate, okay, and what I'm going to use is something called variants. Okay, so here you will put in your variant, okay, but I'm gonna define that at the top, so I'll put it under here. So constant, and I'm gonna call this menu variant, and this is going to be an object, and it has to be starting and ending, a initial and animation. Okay, so for example, the initial value, let's call it initial, you can call this whatever you want, will be, let's say pasty will be 0, and it will slide it in, let's say. So translate x will be -50, and that's it. So it will animate it to, and again you can name this whatever you want. Actually I can just change this name, so animate, and I'm gonna make this 1 and this 0. Okay, so it's just a simple animation. Okay, and I'm gonna pass in the name of the variant into this. For now I will say animate, okay, so that it will animate it. Okay, so I'll later show you how to trigger it from the initial to the animate, but for now I'm just going to do this. Okay, so right now we need to pass that into this, all of these divs. So what I'm going to do is say animate, and then I'm going to pass in the variant. Okay, and I'm going to save this. But this won't work right now because we need to use a hook to find out if we have entered this section. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is use a ref, and this is React, by the way. I'm gonna call this services call this services section ref, okay, and at the top ref, call this has to be null, and now constant, I'm gonna say services section in view. You can call this whatever you want, and now I'm going to use the hook, use in view, okay, from motion. Here, okay, and in this you pass in your ref, okay, so this triggers it to true whenever this ends up coming in to view. Okay, so now I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say if this is true, then do this. If it is not true, then do initial. Okay, so let's do this. Let's save this and let's refresh this. So the animation is happening. It's just I also need to, I think, add in initial here. I thought I could get away without doing it, but it seems like I have to. Initial. This. Yeah. So now the animation is happening. If I refresh this again. Okay, now we need to add in the delay. So how do we do that? So here you can add in your own prop here to pass it in. So I'm gonna say custom, okay? So you can use custom, okay, to pass in something. So I'm gonna say custom, and then I'm gonna pass in, actually no, not here. So here what I'm gonna do is pass in custom. So custom is gonna take in the index for me, okay? So what happens is that this gets passed into this, okay? And then if I go back to the top, you'll see this, right? So what I'm gonna do is do this. So this is going to be a return, and we can just do this to shorten that. So here what I'm going to do is add in a position, and let's do 0.2, and we're going to do custom and like this. So just in case you're confused by this, this is the same custom that we passed as a prop down there, and the custom prop that comes with motion tags is something we can use to pass in custom values into our animations. Okay, so I wanted to pass in the index, okay, so that I could then just get that index and then multiply it by this to add a delay. Okay, so what is happening here is the index starts from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, okay, for each of these. So this would be 0, this would be 1, this would be 2, this would be 3, 4, and 5, okay? So it will pass in that through the custom prop here, okay? Oh, and I need to make this a motion div, okay? I forgot to do that. So now it will give me the index using the custom prop, and then I can just pass that in here. So it will be 0 multiplied by 0.2, then 1 multiplied by 0.2, and so on and so forth to add the delay effect. So I'm going to save this, and now I'm going to refresh this. For some reason it didn't do it. Let me just check this. Thought I could do it like that, but let's cut this out and make this a simple div and just put that here. So let's save this. Yeah, now you can see the animation. I just need to put it in that. You can see the delay is happening for each of these, okay? And you can increase the delay if you want. Okay, so let's say 0.5 is the delay that we want, and let me just refresh this. Now as you can see, it is automatically applying the delay for us for each of these, thanks to us passing in the value using the custom prop, and now we have this smooth animation. So I hope you liked this tutorial. Like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.